the rest of the events. Transform graduate factories into talent transformation labs by leverage business analytics. Our first guest of this morning is Mr. Supaul Chanda. He's the business head of TeamLease Digital. Supaul heads TeamLease Digital, the technology staffing organization of TeamLease, with over 2 decades of professional career behind him and over 15 years of exposure in IT staffing industry. IT staffing industry, so this is going to make a lot of value for us. Blending variety, depth, and simplicity, Supaul drives a customer-first agenda with his team. He's from Kolkata, so don't we know that? That means he's a foodie. He's a foodie at heart, and he believes that the best ideas come to him while on long drives listening to his favorite bands. Quick to adopt unconventional methods and fresh ideas, he loves to explore and keeps pushing his limits for knowledge and learning. He has previously led business units in Magna, Collabra, and Questcore. Please put your hand together for Mr. Supaul Chanda.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dr. Shubha, for inviting me to the stage, being able to speak to all of you and interacting, giving ideas. So my presentation, it's not a visual presentation, though it's just what I want to say. It takes us through the journey of how we are, what we've been doing, what could be the possible outcomes of the future. I'd like to start off by saying a quote by Jack Welch, which says, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, then the end is near. Though not in the context of education, but holds true right now for all of us in this forum, right? There's a change happening in the world. There's a big change in the technology world itself. We see technology being pushed across many domains. Every organization, every product today is a technology company, if you see. And I'll tell you, a report by E&Y on the future of jobs in India shows that by 2022, though I'm a man of numbers, though, I'll tell you, I'm a man of numbers, as Ravi Kumar has already told us. So I'll be talking about a lot of numbers, though. So by 2022, we see that India would have a workforce where almost 46% of the workforce would be working on skill sets or employed in skill sets, which either does not exist today or has been transformed rapidly or has been transforming rapidly over the next few years. We'll see that. So that's a change. That's the oncoming onset of the change which we can expect to come in India. Are we equipped for this? That's the question. Are we equipped to handle this change? Is our generation, these are generational students, equipped to handle this change? Having said this, an AICT report shows that almost 8 lakh students, engineering students, graduate every year in India. But only 40% get employed in the same field. 60% of the students are not employed. They go across and cross channels and go across and get employed in different fields. To add to this, we have another World Bank report with Stanford University, which shows that engineering graduates across Russia, China, actually gaining an edge over the Indian engineering students right now because of the market relevance of what they're learning and how they're prepared and equipped to handle the job market of today. So these are a few pictures. Even Aspiring Minds, an organization in India, had a national employability report study done in 2016. It was like a dipstick report across about 150,000 engineering graduates and from across 500 odd colleges in India. This report showed they did an analysis on their communication skills, on their aptitude, on their relevance of being able to do problem-solving abilities, and their domain knowledge. Unfortunately, the report came out not very pretty. 19% of the engineers, graduates, were prepared for the software industry, only 19%. 3% were actually ready for the software product industry, the industry which is actually responsible for the bringing about this change. 3% of it only. And almost 40% were ready for the BPO industry. So this shows the kind of preparedness we are in this forum to make this change happen. Disruption is everything, as I would take from Dr. Manivaran's cue on disruption. Even I would say that if you see the graduates coming out who are being hired by industry biggies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, the moment they hire these graduates, they go through a 3 to 6 months of initial learning programs or entry-level training programs. This 3 to 6 months learning is almost like a boot camp to get them prepared from what they have learned to what they're expected to do. This is the gap. This is the gap we can all see. This gap has to be bridged between us. This gap, these entry-level training programs, these initial learning programs have to go away. Yes, they have to become more relevant to what TCS and Infosys are doing, but the basic learning gap itself shows. So traditional learning from schools, colleges, STEM, which we call it, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths. These traditional traditional learning methodologies have to change. I'll tell you, I'll state you from Google, rather, Mr. Rajathaksha would agree with me, I guess, on Project Oxygen, a project between Google, which a study by Google done across its management level top executives. They always do this every year. And this study shows how prepared or what makes their top executives what they are today. In 2013, there was an eye-opener for them. 2013 study showed that the abilities of top executives of the organization were more on the facts of how they could coach others, how they could communicate and listen to their people, how they could have empathy towards their own teams, or being supportive, or being a critical thinker, or how to relate across different complex ideas, how to relate and bridge the gaps. The STEM learning from what they had come from was the last in that standing. That was not required, actually. These learnings, if you see the learnings from the top executives of these organizations, are from the fact that they were taught in different colleges, but not engineering, not from engineering colleges, or not from STEM colleges as such. So that itself shows the proof that they are right now looking at hiring graduates from arts and science also, liberal arts. So by saying this, I'm not trying to portray a grim picture. It's not. It's actually what we call in our learning a conscious incompetent stage. We are at a conscious incompetent stage right now, all of us, with our learnings. Conscious incompetence is a stage where you're aware of where the problem is, and that's the beginning of the change. So being aware of where we are today is the first step towards the change to be brought about. I think 2 simple words can sum up what we can want to say. It's market relevance. Market relevance is what our graduates need, are looking forward towards you for having that relevance come in, that learning come into them. Adopting best practices from across the globe. Colleges need to change. I don't have a solution, though. I'm telling you, these are just suggestions from my colleagues and myself to see that we can do these changes. We had a dipstick done across the last 5 years, graduates who came to us in TeamLease, our TeamLease Digital, from different computers and science streams, where they actually, and these are people who got employed in that stream itself, and they actually feel that what they learned across in their colleges was not relevant at all to what they are doing today at the job field, in the job market. So they feel the difference, they feel the gap all the time. And what they learned in their stints at different IT biggies were totally away from what they've been doing or what they've been learning. A small example of Harvard, I'll give you a small example of Harvard University. Right at the beginning of 1940s itself, they started inducting their distinguished alumni into the board of directors. This was being done so that they stay relevant to the market. A very good move, I would say, and this is what distinguished Harvard right now. And these are our traits from, these are best practices we could adopt in this industry, where we can have a distinguished alumni join us. We can have visiting professionals coming in as visiting professors or visiting faculty to even give insights to the students about what's required today in the job market, what is relevant, what is not relevant, how are things moving. There's a big change in the technology field. It's changing rapidly whatsoever, every 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year and a half. So to stay relevant to this, these visiting faculties must give the insights to these students about what is required to learn. Even have faculty from colleges go across and maybe do projects along with private sector, government sectors. An example I can tell you is University of Berkeley has tied up with the Indian organization called Quintella. And they're setting up smart innovation centers, smart city innovation centers across India to stay relevant to smart cities. So these are certain moves which are happening across India right now, and cues taken by colleges and universities across the globe. Another way of actually what we feel is also have faculties publish journals, papers across of relevant streams and be relevant to what they're learning. So they keep updating their learning all the time of how they would be, how they could add value to their students through these published journals. So, and a dynamic element of maybe 10 to 15% should be incorporated in the syllabus of today, which makes it more relevant to what they are. The constant part of the syllabus should remain almost 85-90%, but there should be a 10% industry dynamic which could be incorporated in their learning. This 10% dynamic point could change over maybe 5 years, 10 years, but should be relevant to what's required today for the engineers to come out and start adding value to the job market. Business analytics. Business analytics is such a vast and deep topic, but we see that a lot of it is being used by the education industry today. To give you an example, Dartmouth College of New Hampshire in US is actually come out with a smart life app called the Smart GPA, and they actually predict the outcomes of their students based on their social media presence, because they're tracking that, their ability to study in the class, their amount of rest they have, the amount of sleep they go through. So all these three put together, they actually came out with a predictability app to have them to even guide students who are not going in the right direction, and they keep them on track. So analytics is used by the education industry in such ways. Apart from the fact that they keep tracking their alumni, through their professional growth, they keep tracking the industry trends and growth in the market. But business analytics can be very, very well leveraged by education institutes. We are sitting on a wealth of knowledge, data. We are not using it. We are not using it that as much as we should be using it. We have different box and different fields and streams of people coming across and studying with us. That itself shows, can be a window to the future of how the students could behave, how the students could learn and take it up. So I don't have a much of as I said, this is not a visual presentation. I am myself not an engineering graduate. I'm a mass comm graduate actually. And I come from sales stream, so numbers is what I do. TeamLease Digital has been in the foray of getting these students, these graduates, and people from different walks of life coming in and transforming themselves into digital workforce for India. There is a demand-supply gap in India. Today we see that. There's a very big gap between what the students are learning, what the students are expected to do. So these things are important, and upskilling, reskilling, having them get more relevant to the market, learning about what are the trends which are moving across in different streams. As I said, every organization today is a technical organization. Every product is technical today. It's not only IT companies like Wipros and TCSs who are holding the helm of the technical change. It's any industry today. For example, is Ola and Uber coming across as platforms, but not owning any cabs at all. But they actually leveraged their technical know-how to ensure their business becomes what they are. So the future of the job market in India is very bullish, the technical job market. Engineers have got a very, very good a green future, a green field to walk upon. And as I said, about 9%, 46% of it would be in streams skills which don't exist today at all. So it's a very exciting journey up ahead, how people could leverage from this. So to bring about any change, I think what is important is the speed of thought, the relevance, and the finesse of execution. So these are the three things which will actually bring about the change to ensure that we are staying relevant, our students are relevant to the world market today. A slight mid-course correction is required, I think. We are not very far behind. It's not a grim picture at all. It's not that we've lost the battle. It's actually the onset of the change right now. This is the time we need to. As I said, we are in the conscious incompetent stage. We are aware of where the problems are. We could actually come across and do a slight mid-course correction to ensure that we are relevant. We are staying true to what we have promised our students to do. Yes, and I take a cue from Mr. Ravi Kumar of having 100% placements. Placements is not the ultimate needle for us to prove where we are. It is not. It's about what the inputs are, how the students are coming across. Talent is the only job security today. There's no other job security. Any organization coming across and giving you job security, it's a false claim, because if you don't have the talent, you're not in a secure place for your job. So I would like to end by saying, quoting another philosopher, thinker called Malcolm X, who said, "Education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." So that's about it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for entertaining. Thank you.
Wow, that was fantastic. You started off by a quote by Jack Welch saying the rate of change of outside is greater than the change of inside, then the end is near. That might have touched a raw nerve somewhere here. You also mentioned how 60%, the two major things that you touched upon were 60% of engineers being unemployed and getting a fight tough from foreign engineering graduates. Thank you, Supaul, for pointing out that STEM learning, if we tweak that a little bit and we encourage our students to publish and take a few leaves out of foreign universities like Harvard, where they inducted alumni into their board of directors, and the Dartmouth app, keeping track of what your students are doing and try to make them do better. Fantastic. Of course, the best takeaway was nothing is grim, nothing is so bad. We just need to have a correction. Thank you so much. That was really, really good.